Hello everyone, my name is Josh Alexander for Neuqua Connection. I'm here with my dashing guest, Mr. Stadt. How are you doing today, sir?
Just dandy. Thanks for having me.
That's awesome. So I want to talk to you about your career as a counselor. Let's start with, what is it like every day being a counselor? Like, what's your schedule like, and how does it flow?
Boy, that is probably the hardest question to answer when it comes to counseling, simply because every day is different. You know, with teachers, obviously you teach a certain amount of periods each day, and you know what lesson you're planning that day. Sometimes we have prearranged meetings and that kind of thing. We know what we're doing. For example, tomorrow, we're taking the ACT tomorrow. We'll be helping to conduct that. But a lot of times it is kind of dictated by what comes into your office that day. And so there's really a variety of things in working with students. It could flow from academic issues to college planning issues to social and emotional issues. It's a variety of things, and that's kind of what I like about the job.
Yeah, like you never know what's expected throughout the day. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it makes every day exciting.
So when did you think you wanted to become a counselor? Like, how did that kind of spark, like what sparked your career to be that?
I actually started teaching elementary school in District 204 at Clow Elementary. I taught 4th and 5th grade, and in the summer I was working at a summer camp for teenagers. And I was driving home from the camp one summer, and I thought, you know, I really enjoy teaching. It's a nice career, but I'm really pretty passionate about counseling adolescents, which is what I'm doing in the summer. So I figured, why do what I like 10 months of the year, and I'm only doing what I love 2 months of the year? So I decided I wanted to do what I love 12 months of the year. So then I signed up to start a graduate school program at NIU.
Okay.
To get my master's degree in school counseling, which you have to be a counselor.
That's awesome. So when you were in high school, obviously you were trying to pursue the career of being a teacher?
Yeah, in high school I did know I wanted to be a teacher. I wasn't sure what level or what subject. My experiences in college kind of led me to elementary school because I was doing some substitute teaching, and I was really loving that age level, like the 4th, 5th grade age level. So I knew education, but I had great guidance counselors in high school, but I just never thought about that as a career. It's just, you know, when a kid is 5 years old, you don't say, I want to be a guidance counselor, you know. So it's something that kind of developed along the way.
All right, that's awesome. So what is it like, do you create like good relationships with all your students, and like what is that like?
I try to. You know, freshman year, step one is just trying to learn all their names, you know, because you have this whole new crew of kids. You've just said goodbye to an entire class of students because we work on the house system here at Neuqua. And so freshman, sophomore year, I'm trying to learn names and build relationships so that by junior year, when we're into the college planning stages, and especially senior year when I'm writing letters of recommendation and that kind of thing, that hopefully by then I know the student well. Different students respond in different ways. Some students are very responsive to relationship building. Others kind of, have a hands-off kind of approach, and that's up to the student. You know, the relationship can only go as far as they're willing to work with you on developing the relationship.
So like, what's the most rewarding thing for you to be as a counselor? Like, what do you find the most pride in doing as a counselor?
Probably what I enjoy most is starting in freshman year, and there's always some students that kind of struggle in freshman year. They struggle with that transition to high school. Their grades are reflective of that. You know, just things aren't going so well. That could be the transition to high school. It could be social emotional issues, you name it. And then to see them grow and develop and mature, and by senior year, you know, they're really kicking butt in their classes, you know, and they're headed to college and that kind of thing. To see that progress, and if at all I've been able to have a hand in that and helping encourage them to develop, that's really a rewarding part of the career.
That's awesome. So is it kind of hard to almost see that, like, not go away, but necessarily like kind of have to let those students go and develop a new class of students?
Yeah. It's traumatic. It is. It's traumatizing because you spend 4 years getting to know these students, especially in senior year. You know, as they're becoming like adult-like. You know, and you really have this great relationship with them. And to say goodbye to them all at once and go back. And there's always an excitement of starting with a new class, but it's really hard those first couple weeks because the freshmen don't know you, they don't care who you are, they don't think they need to know you, and that kind of thing. And you're like, oh, bring back all those kids that I knew and loved, and we had great relationships. And so it's kind of hard to start over, but it's also exciting to see everybody go on to the next steps in their life. Senior year is a pretty magical time, a really exciting time. It's exciting to see kids getting college acceptances, for them to experience those memory-making moments like prom and senior spectacular and the last Friday night football games and that kind of thing. It's all exciting to be part of that in senior year.
Yeah. So what is it? I'm sorry. You also do more than just counseling, correct? You do you announce the volleyball games. What is that like? Like, how did you get started into that? And
yeah, actually, I've done a number of extracurricular activities here throughout the years. I've directed theater here. I was a student council sponsor, you name it. And a number of years ago, there was an opening for a coach at the freshman B level in volleyball. And so I went for that coaching position. Even though I had not played volleyball in high school, I felt like I knew the sport enough to start at that level of coaching. And I went up against another teacher here, and he got the position, and I didn't. And they needed an announcer. And I said, well, this is a way I can be involved in the volleyball program without coaching. And the funny thing is the guy that I went up against is now our head coach for boys volleyball, Coach Mendoza. Yeah. So, when he got the coaching position, then I decided to take on the announcing position. And that was, I think this is my 14th year announcing volleyball. So, yeah, it's cool to be part of it every year.
It's quite a journey. So in terms of colleges, I know you help a lot of students like in terms of ways of getting into college. How do you help them out in I guess you could say the path to getting there? Yeah.
It's really kind of helping them walk through the process and understand the different components of the process. One of the myths about guidance counseling is that we have some sort of tips and tricks to get you into colleges that are like high-level colleges. They're like, what are the tips and tricks to get into Harvard? There really are no tips and tricks to get into Harvard. You can simply do the best you can in the classes you take and get the best ACT score you can, and then apply to schools that are probably within your target zone or maybe a little bit of a reach. If they are an incredible reach, then maybe that's not the best place for you to spend your time and money applying to. So really kind of walking students through the process, helping them understand where they should apply, what they need to do to apply, what's in their best interest when it comes to applying. Those are all things we walk them through as counselors.
So do you help them all at all out on like ACT type style stuff, or?
Just educating them as to when to take it, how many times to take it, whether or not a prep course would be helpful, and that kind of thing. I'm not actually teaching them tips and tricks about the ACT. That's best done in a prep course. That's not really something we would have time to do as a counselor, but we can steer you towards those kind of resources.
And we obviously all do guidance essentials. How can that be helpful to us as a student?
Well, that is our only way of communicating all this kind of information to students in large group settings like that. In freshman and sophomore year, it's very much an introduction to high school kind of thing that we're talking about in essentials. But especially in junior and senior year, really getting that crucial information to students and walking them through the process, that's what Guidance Essentials does. And so we realize that it cuts into your time in those lunch periods, but we only ask for that 4 times a year, so we think that's reasonable.
So do you have any maybe tips for any freshmen this year going into high school, like not necessarily educational wise, but maybe even socially wise, to get involved or anything?
I would say the 2 biggest tips I would give to an incoming freshman is one, seniors that regret their freshman grade performance will tell you over and over again, get the best grade you can early on, build that GPA starting from day one. Students say that all the time, and that's the advice they want to pass on to freshmen. But 2, like you said, with extracurriculars, high school can be an incredible time of making memories. But I think the extent to which memories are made is the extent to which you get involved and try different things and join things and be part of the whole high school experience. And I wouldn't miss out on that because you can only be a high schooler once. Unless you work here, then I'm a high schooler for the rest of my life, basically. But you're only a high schooler once, so don't miss out on that opportunity to live the memories, that one special time in your life.
Of course, of course. Well, thank you for coming in today. That's all we have time for.
All right. Thank you.
And for Neuqua Connection, I'm Josh Alexander with my guest, Mr. Stadt.
Thank you, everybody.